Welcome to RMM Help. In this session we provide an overview of logging calls in the RMM Help Desk using site building and location and displaying all the system and user definable and default prompts. We suggest you view the separate help videos for setting up the control file, the work code files, assets and generic assets, work processing through to completion, and the new client and SLA options, and that'll assist you in planning your help desk operation. The help desk is available from the main menu. We take work, and in the action section we've got log call. This opens a tab form. There's only 3 tabs visible initially, and when we save the job and we get our automatic job number, the remainder of the tabs will appear at that point. So our objective in our own call logging and in any help desk is to log the call efficiently and accurately, and by using system default settings in the control file and drop down data lists, we believe that that'll help us to achieve this objective. In the control file, we've set up our selection of assets by using site building and location. We've selected that we want to use regular work, that when we're selecting assets in the asset list, generic assets will be first in the list. We said we're operating a 5-day working week. We want to be warned if any untrained staff are allocated to a particular piece of equipment. We get a display that a job has already been issued to a PDA and that the job is no longer available for editing. And we've selected that we want to be prompted to print a job docket when we actually save a job. So therefore, in this example, we're going to log a job using all of the available prompts, which will enable a description for each function. And finally, to achieve this, I'll have to select 2 different assets, one to show a supplier maintenance contract and one to show that the asset is under warranty, because in RMM a warranty prompt will supersede a contract. So all of our data entry is done on this first tab, Job Details, and the focus is automatically set in Site, and although we can use the keyboard, I'm actually going to use the mouse so that you can see me visiting the relevant fields. So I'll click on Site and I'm going to select the General Hospital. I want to be able to choose one of the clinical departments, and in this instance I'm going to go to Admissions. The asset that I want to use that's under a maintenance contract is this electro-hydraulic body lift ending in 758, and I'll select that asset. I need to select a service level agreement for it, which I've done, and now we get our maintenance contract pop-up form. So it says that asset number is covered by a current maintenance contract, reference that. The contract type is labour and parts under a service level agreement. Our expiry date is in 2015, and please ensure that in-house parts and labour costs are not incurred on this job. So at that point I would select OK. But I now want to show you exactly the same thing where the warranty message pops up, so I'll abandon this data and we'll reselect an asset. So I'll click on New and I'll clear these data items and I'll start from scratch. So I'll go through the same process and I'll select Allerton General Hospital. I'll do my clinical departments again, and I'll also take admissions. And the asset that I want is an identical one to the first one, but this one ending in 749 is still under warranty. So I select the asset. At this point, it's popped up a message which is an optional message which is stored in the asset record, so that during help desk and call logging, if you want to draw the operator's attention to something, you can simply put something in the asset detail form. This could be that, let's say for instance, a manufacturer had sent out details to inspect a piece of equipment the next time it came in for repair. You could put that kind of message in, or in this case we've said that there's an important safety document to view and that's been attached to the job, so we'll accept that. Now we'll select our service level agreement, and at this point we get our warranty notice. So the first one we did, we showed that the asset was under a supplier contract. This one is still covered by warranty. It tells us the duration, when it expires, and again informing us not to use any in-house parts and labour costs on this job. So we'll say OK to that. It now tells me that this asset has got a risk rating of significant. Do I want to set the work risk with the same values? So this is set up in the control file, where we can set a asset threshold value, and every job that equals or is greater than that, it will give us this message. So I'm going to use the same risk rating for work as I have for the asset. I'll now select the job and I'll just say lift fault, select the regular work, and at that point I'm ready to save the record, and I'll get my final prompt at that point, which is, do I want to print the job docket? So I'll click on save and it gives me that message. I'll say no, because my procedure would be that I don't print the job docket until I've allocated the work. And if that was your method of working, then you would simply untick that in the control file so that you don't get this prompt at that time. So I'll say no to that. And we now have our job number that's been generated up here. And if I could just mention that in these tab forms, where there is a possibility at some stage during feedback that you might visit multiple tabs in this form, each of these tabs is dealt with as a separate form. So before you move from one tab to another, you must use the save option. It may seem as if it's a time-consuming task, but it only takes fractions of a second, and it will mean that you don't lose any data. If we go on to our work and risk, you can see that the job has automatically been posted as logged by Archie Qualthrow, and that comes from my login procedures. The contractor, which came from the fact that the equipment was on contract. Our regular work gave us work type and the regular work description, and if I went back, that was where we got that description. So at that point we've covered all of the options for pop-up messages for logging jobs in ResMan.